Yeah.
All right, we're live. Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Entrepreneurs, where we bring discussions real, raw, and unplugged on the journey of what it takes to become an entrepreneur. Today, we have our special guest, Cynthia Stant. You're going to want to hear from her, so stay tuned, and we'll see you on the inside.
I'm like all jamming out to the music.
Welcome.
Pretty cool.
Welcome.
Welcome to Uncensored Entrepreneurs. Before we get started, let me just tell you, it is freezing here in Georgia.
Yeah.
I can't say the same about Cabo.
Like 30 degrees,
California.
like 30 degrees freezing. And just like last week, and Robert, I know you live in South Carolina, but it was like 85 degrees like 3 or 4 days ago. And then
Yes.
I think today's high is like 46.
Yes, I know it's a big shift. We always say if you're not wearing a coat one day, shorts the next day. That's just
It's like only in the South that you can go from wearing shorts and flip flops to putting a rain jacket on to like putting snow boots on.
Yeah,
all in the same day or in the same week.
I'm in Florida where you can get all 4 seasons in one day. You wake up, it's freezing. By the middle of the day, it's like summer, and then nighttime, it's like fall again. So I love it because I have so many great sweaters that I finally get to wear. But I'm enjoying it. So it's nice.
You know what? Fall is my favorite season, and that's why I think it's my favorite season because I have so many cute fall clothes and boots and hoodies and like stuff. So I'm like, ooh, I get to wear all my cute clothes. And we got to see a little baby bump today.
Yeah, he's getting there, man. He's getting there. We're 6 months now. It's gone by so fast. I can't believe it. I know. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
I'm
so very, very grateful.
A maternity shoot, and it was so adorable. I love that Izzy is all like in it, right? Like,
yeah.
She's totally, and you know, it was so, well, it wasn't funny, but I came home today and I walk to the beach every day, and I've got some really cool friends down here, and one of them used to be Trump's lawyer. The other one runs a massive business in Mexico City. And so they invited me up for coffee and cake for breakfast. Thank God I'm in that space. And so got to go and sit with them, and we were sitting there, and I always enjoy my conversation with them. It's always so interesting because, you know, they're in really different businesses than me. And there's this heaviness in the world right now. There's this heaviness and uncertainty. And it actually like made me feel a lot better about what we're going through in business right now and what we've got to work through and the solutions that we need to find. But I came home and I said, oh, Izzy, you missed out coming to the beach today because another day off. It's Day of the Dead today here in Mexico. And so another day off. And I said, I had cake for breakfast and a coffee. And she goes, you had 2 coffees? You had 2 coffees today? I said, yeah, I had 2 coffees today. She's like, but what about the baby? And she was so worried. And I was like, no, he's going to be just fine. She won't let me go. She won't even let me sniff a margarita right now. She's so protective of this baby.
My 11-year-old.
It's you, Mom. It's all about baby Isaac right now. And I don't care anything. We just need to make sure that you're eating properly. Have you ate your greens today? Did you eat a salad?
No, just Black Forest cake. Just Black Forest
cake.
Good, Mama. Amazing.
My 11-year-old just got straight A's, right? And I was pregnant with him when I was 22. I'm telling you, 2 cups of coffee, you were okay.
Yes.
You're fine.
That's true.
I am like having like a big, and you guys are all younger than me, I think. I think I'm the oldest one here. Maybe.
We won't tell anyone.
Maybe Robert. Not everyone. It's just everyone watching.
I was the youngest one here. Don't call me out like that, Tina.
But I was talking to Paco the other day, and he goes, I can't believe you're going to be 49 this year. I'm like, I'm not going to be 49. I'm going to be 48. He goes, babe, you're going to be 49. I just turned 50. And I went, nuh-uh.
And I hate when you lose track of time.
Yeah,
right? And I was like,
once you hit 40, you stop tracking. I'm like,
I was gonna say, let's just leave it. Let's leave it there. I stopped at 45, and I haven't looked back.
I think I'm just gonna start going backwards now. Can I do that?
It's all just a label.
49, I'm gonna be 47, and then I can just start going backwards because I was like, what? And he's like, how old is Gage gonna be next year? And I said, oh, he's gonna be 30 because I had him. I had him when I was 19 years old. So you talking about having 2 cups of coffee? God knows what I was doing.
You're drinking the hard stuff now, right, Tina? So actually, Christina, I wanted to kind of just piggyback off the fact that you said during these hard, uncertain times, and that's why I'm really excited. I'm quite honestly, I don't think Cynthia, which is our special guest today, I haven't had an opportunity to really get to kind of talk to her one-on-one. So this will be new for me.
She is brilliant. She is brilliant. I'm so excited.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect segue in the fact that in these uncertain times, right, it just takes people that are actually understanding that they were able to unlock something, to experience a little bit of breakthrough and how they had to shift in these times. But Tina, I know that you know Cynthia very well.
Oh my gosh.
Special guest.
Listen, this is badass. Listen, I don't usually curse on the show, as but this chick is a badass. Cynthia Stant is a sales consultant, self-made millionaire, and ambassador for Dress for Success, a nonprofit organization based in Greater Orlando, Florida. Her expertise lies in empowering female entrepreneurs who desire to achieve 6- and 7-figure revenues. Having conquered the corporate sales world in an executive level, Cynthia now guides entrepreneurs to view their business as a spiritual practice. And her tagline is making sales sexy. Sexy.
Yes. All right.
So welcome, Cynthia Stant, to the show.
Yes,
Thank you
absolutely.
so much for having me. I appreciate it. And I just love that, you know, this is going to come down to everything I stand for, what I'm talking about. But I was invited to today's show by Tina. Thank you again, Tina. And as we hop on, I'm like, oh, Christina's part of it. Christina's been on my podcast, right? I've been on hers.
Yeah.
There are retreats that I've been invited to. She teaches sales, and like, yeah, we already know each other and we're connected. And that's really what I'm about. We can talk more about it, but it's funny. My brand is Inner Feminine Beast, right? Because I've been told by so many people, wow, like Cynthia, you're so intuitive and woo-woo, but you're so badass and boss. And like, you just combine these two things, like the intuitive with the practical. Like it's feminine, but it's masculine. It's feminine beast. And, you know, it's a privilege. It's an honor that a lot of the people in the online world, and I'm sure other people get this title too, but they've referred to me as the queen of sales. And I remember when I first heard that, I was like, I don't know how my beast feels about being called the queen, but I'll take that. But what really it's about, my friends, my colleagues, they will really refer to me more as the queen of connections. And that's what I stand for. And that's what I'm about. So even in the online space, hopping onto this show, it's like, oh, hi, Christina. Like, it's like, we know each other. There are people behind the posts, the glittery graphics, behind the shiny websites.
Yeah.
There's
So
people.
true.
And that's what I'm all about, is connecting to people, because that's the truth of business. Money comes from people.
That is business, right? That is business.
Having
business is about
these
relationships.
Yeah.
Right. It's about earning trust through relationships and connection. And that's what I'm all about. And that's what I'm really bringing to the online space, is remembering people.
Building relationships has gone away in business. Like, I feel like so many people try to build a relationship with a client if they buy from them. But even if they
instead of doing what's right all the time.
Even if they don't buy from them, they know 250 other people that could represent you or would be good clients for you, or you could be a referral partner to. I mean, if you just keep that relationship building on, and I think that's what I strive myself for over the last 18 years. I've been able to build these relationships with all of these people. And so when I do have a guest opening or something like that, I'm like, hey, I didn't slam it shut. I'm like, hey, I see what you're doing. How about we bring you on? They're like, oh my God, yes. I mean, I have probably 4 or 5 people that have never bought anything from me, but refer a ton of people to me all the time.
Yeah. One thing I can say for sure. I was going to say, one thing I can say for sure is everyone here on the panel, and it stands behind what you're saying, Cynthia, because we've kind of embraced the fact that our success, it all stems from, building relationships over transactions. If you do that, right, then you're in the business for the long haul. So many people today just like flood my inbox with these like spammy, and I know you're going to talk about the spammy kind of stuff as just like constantly, hey, have you thought about this? Do you want to buy this? And
You're
many
like,
times,
who are you? I literally just friended you like yesterday.
and many times you can tell.
Or I didn't even friend them.
I was going to say, or friend them. And many times
you're a friend of Christina's. I thought you would be interested in my whatever.
Right. And I was going to say that many times that
list.
you can actually see that they know nothing about you. They haven't even done, as I always talk about, the 30 seconds of research, because they'll say something like, have you ever thought about writing a book? And I'm like, do you not know that I'm working on my 6th book?
Somebody literally just asked me that the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, if
you're the coach on
taken
writing
the time
books.
to read my bio, I teach people how to write books.
Exactly.
And they're like, oh yeah, I've seen that. I'm like,
yeah. So it is about that connection, right? It's about building a relationship. So I'm fascinated. I'm ready to dive into some things. Cynthia, I know that you've talked a lot about this, and you've had like your own paradigm shift over the last few years, correct?
Yeah, I'd say.
Okay.
Well, Christina, I would like for you to start off by letting them know the last 3 years or 4 years. I think it was 4 years that you have completely turned your whole entire world around. So tell us a little bit about your story. That's the uncensored entrepreneur mom.
That's my mom that I just waved to that comments. She's the best.
I love it.
So Cynthia, yeah, we'd love to hear, we'd love to hear more about, your story and where you came from and also what it's evolved to in the last year, because I've seen you grow. And what's so cool is, we talked about a little bit about how difficult the economy is and people are just feeling unmotivated and it's really hard and, and life is what you make it. It's your mindset, right? So if you think it's going to be hard, it's going to be hard. But if you're constantly developing yourself and evolving yourself, then you get to create new. And this is separating season. And the cool thing about it is like the reason that Cynthia and I know each other is because there are people that are just dropping like fries because they feel like they're not part of it because there's too much adversity, there's too much challenge, there's too much distraction. But actually those of us that persevere through the challenge and the adversity, we're all up here and we're all friends.
We're all friends.
People don't understand that part. Yeah. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Yeah, if you are dedicating your life to the coaching industry and to the clients that you serve, you're not going anywhere. And we find each other like attracts like, and we all know each other and we have something to say. It's interesting. This is bonkers. This sounds crazy to a lot of people, but this is kind of how I live my life. It was literally like 4 weeks ago that I had this idea. As entrepreneurs, I'm sure you get this in the middle of the night. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Are you sure we're going to do this?
3
Yes. All right, fuck it, we're doing it. Okay, this is happening. So 4 weeks ago, I decided I was going to host an in-person event, a big one in a ballroom. And I was going to invite women from all over the world to come and have this conversation. So 3 weeks ago, I announced it and I started personally sending voice message to people, what they think is crazy, and inviting them. I wasn't dropping links and buy now and hiding behind my glittery posts and graphics. I was, they're out there too, but I was connecting and getting together the women that I really trust and wanted to have involved in a high level conversation. And 36 women from around the world within 3 weeks came to Orlando, Florida. Women who are 6, 7, 8-figure online coaching businesses. And this is what was cool. It wasn't just entrepreneurs. It was women who are coaches. And we were talking about what has happened in our industry, what is happening, and what we want to see happen and what we're going to do about it. Not just what we think we should do or what we need to do, but what we actually want to do. Because those kind of conversations, when you get high level leaders, and I don't mean to call any exclude anybody, Robert, but I work with women. So these are women together. But
that's all right. I'm listening. Hey,
he's here for it, right? He's used to it.
First of all, us successful individuals, us males would not be where we're at without a successful woman somewhere behind.
And vice versa. We all know
next to us or in front of us. Exactly.
Yeah. So when we put our beautiful minds together and our hearts together and have, this leadership conversation that's heart driven, it's amazing what can come out of it. And so, I shared what I've seen, and I'd love to share a little bit with that here today. I work with a lot of coaches, and the thing is, they're amazing at getting their clients results and what it is that they coach. But sometimes if you don't get clients to coach, that's a problem, right? You can't get them results or serve them. My job is to get women paid. It's to help them to get those clients so that they can help to get those results. So for instance, I had Ava there. She's in 7-figure breathwork master. We call her the Beyonce of breathwork. She's focusing on her craft. She's working with her clients every day. My job is to study how she gets paid, to study the industry, to study what's happening in this ever-changing environment and industry. And so I brought up the very important year of what happened. And this year is the year that everybody can say something big happened in their business if you're online. It was 2020. And in 2020, when the whole pandemic and everything happened, I was working for a very successful business consultant. I was her right hand. I was the senior sales manager for online sales. I alone was doing $670,000 in sales every month while managing the team and coaching the clients and really teaching them how to show up online. And I'll be honest with you, we were doing really well. We were doing, a $300,000 launch and then a $500,000 launch and then $750,000 launch. And our goal was to hit that $1 million launch. March 2020 happened. We didn't hit $1 million. We went over 2 million in a launch.
Wow. That's awesome. Wow.
What does that mean? What was happening, right? Like it's really obvious that so many people who were consultants, mentors, doctors, selling hundreds of thousands from the stages were now needing to find a different way to do it. And they were turning online. And, these people who are experts all of a sudden felt like they were newbies learning an online space. What's a post? What's a like? Mind you, TikTok did not exist then, neither did Reels or Stories, right? None of that. But if you were in the online space, if you already understood how to write convincing posts, if you understood a little bit about creating community and following, you were already set up for success where people now were turning to you as an expert. I'm not lying. I'm being so honest. I saw every single day by the dozens people creating 7-figure companies. And a lot of them are 20, 30-year-old women right? Who are like, oh, I know social. And it was amazing. Overnight success. And it was from posting. It was from live launching. It was from creating communities and following online. And I think the social media started picking up on how people were really monetizing this. I think a lot of big changes has happened since then. A lot of greed has happened as well. Mm-hmm. Now, I joked around. I had Shamina Taylor at my event, and Shamina's a big deal. I love this woman. And I joke around. I made a post that she was coming. I got 2 fucking likes. That doesn't make any sense, right? It's algorithms, right? We're competing with algorithms. Back in the day, ads used to be you pay $10,000, you get 1,000 leads. Are they qualified leads? No, but they're possibly interested in what you have to say because they opted in. Now there's times where you can pay $10,000 and get like 200 people and you can't understand why. It's pick or choose. And a lot of the leaders who are investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in ads every single month are opting out. They're like, screw you for picking who I can and cannot. This is not a fair game. I want to be in control because nothing outside of me is going to be the source of my success. I'm in it to win it and I'm not going to play your game. So they opted out. What happened was they're going to portals such as like Kajabi or their own communities. I have girlfriends paying $30,000 to own an app every year. That's a lot less than what they were paying in ads to be able to control their databases and communities. Mm-hmm. And so when they're opting out, what's happening? It was this time last year that, the people that were portraying this on were let go of over 15,000 employees. Which department? Ads.
Yeah.
Right? So ads aren't working like they used to. Algorithms are happening. There's all these different ways of communicating now. TikTok didn't exist. And at the same time, everybody and their mom is an online coach. There's actual experts who can support people, but there's other people who think, oh, cool, I can post something glittery. I can push the live button and I can have worksheets and now I'm a coach, right? It's noisy and it's frustrating and we feel like we're being censored. That's why I love the name of this show. We're being censored. We're not being connected. It's like a world of, I made $50,000 from my stories. I just dropped a link, not caring who buys on the other side. Yeah. Everybody's, ego driven. They went from having 15 people at a launch to 75 people. So that number becomes an addiction where they feel like the validation comes from how much money they're getting and or how many people they're enrolling. But they don't realize their number one profit producing activity is actually connecting and serving the people who already committed getting them results. Because when you get your clients results, there's the testimonials, there's referrals. And that's why we're doing this in the first place. You will lose your reputation if you're just worried about how many people you're constantly acquiring. So we got together in this room and we talked about it. Everybody was like, yeah, I saw overnight success. I saw these dips. I saw these trends. I backed out. This is what happened. And we decided, what are we going to do about it? So
I love it.
This is what I think people thought is so fascinating. And really, it's not anything new. It's just the fact that I truly believe anything that's based off an illusion is going to crumble and fall.
Yes.
If we are chasing numbers, it's not going to work. If we are just hiding behind our screens, it's not real. What is real is that, as we were saying, money comes from people. Relationships are based off love. Love is truth. Love will always, and truth will always succeed. It will always prevail. So what I've done as somebody who's very successful at launching, I've literally managed multiple $1 million launches. My first year, I've had several 6-figure launches, literally with no employee or one employee, right? Like, this is my jam. I can do it in my sleep. Now, I'm not saying don't launch anymore. I love launching. And I feel people who don't like launching are just not good at it. You have to get master it. You have to get better and better at it. But they should be something that you depend on. They should be sprinkles on top. For 9.5 months, I went without doing a single launch. In fact, I went without doing a single story. And in that time, I created a 7-figure business. And when I shared how I did it, people were like, this is genius. This is new. It's not. It's just that it's real. It's different from what we're used to. I brought it back to being with people. I made my podcast be about really building relationships and understanding abundance and cross promotion and understanding proximity is power. Understanding, I call it the Spice Girl effect, where we're all better together. So whether you have, Baby was your favorite, or Scary, or Sporty, Ginger, Posh, it doesn't matter. Baby was my favorite.
Sporty over here. No,
right? You can spice up your life, right? But if you have a favorite one, it doesn't mean you don't like the others, but together they make that experience. It's when Ginger went solo that the girl didn't do so well. All right. I love you, Ginger, but like that was awkward.
So
together,
true.
We're better. And so
together.
It's the podcasting that I've been able to lead by example and show that I've made multiple 6 figures in sales just from podcasting, not through just the audience, but the relationships that I built through cross promoting. People don't realize that meetups. I remember thinking, why would I have a meetup in my backyard when literally this month I enrolled somebody from the Netherlands, Siberia, France, and Canada? Like, why would I meet people all here? Because of the ultimate trust that you have with being connected with people in your community. I have been creating meetups, and this one does so much for the marketing, right? This got content. It's really built my speaking, because in the beginning, nobody wanted me on their stage. So what I did was I created my own stage where they can finally come and hear what I have to say. And then what happens is businesses get happening with everybody locally. One meetup, right? My very first one, the most minimum we've ever made is $36,000 from a meetup, which is a party that I get paid to go to, right? Like, it's crazy, but it's why? Because when you serve people, you are the one putting yourself out there, bringing the people together. When you give, you're allowed to receive. So I shared these tips and techniques on how I was doing meetups and how I was having this in-person event and how we were doing these again and again. My last in-person event was $160,000 in sales, and I didn't even sell. There was a QR code, this one right here, that I kept up on the screen. Like, that was it, in case you wanted to check out. And so people are just like, how is this happening? What's happening? It's how do you get the speaking? What do you do when you're speaking? It's in person. I remember the very first time that I spoke from stage, and I could see the faces of the people looking back at me. And, when you work from online, who here's barefoot right now in their sweatpants underneath? Party, professional top, party on the bottom, right? Right now that's happening. Yes. When you are doing this every single day, right?
You just described Tina. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm sure. Every single day, I'm recording podcasts, over 280 of them to become a top podcast. We just got ranked number 9 in women's sales podcast for FeedSpot with platform over 6 million users, right? Awesome. But that took a long time to do. Every single post that we're writing, pouring our heart out, it's getting blocked. Like 2 likes. Are you kidding me? Right? Like, I was so tired of feeling blocked, unheard, and hoping that my people can even find me. When I was in person, I got off stage and literally, for the first time, this was over a year ago, 30 plus women got in line to meet me, and they hugged me, and I embraced them, and they shared their biggest dreams and their biggest fears and what episode spoke to their soul and how today empowered them. And I just remember in that moment, I was like, this is what it's all about. Like
Yes.
these are the followers that you can't see. These are the friends on social media that are there supporting you. And in that moment is when I decided that I was going to bring it back to the people, bring it back in person. And every time I do something in person, it's not, oh no, we shouldn't sell from stories and reels. No, we're still doing that, but it's a both mentality. It's not this or that. You should be doing both. And everything that I do in person is so much more fulfilling. I do not need validation. Okay. But I will say I am worthy of receiving respect for the dedication and commitment that I put into this industry. And when you hear the people and you see the people, it gives you that whole it girl factor that drives you even more to show up every day. It has inspired me to make a bigger movement, to like be a little bit louder and just to host the next event. It empowers me. And it really helps to build that credibility online. More and more sales happen online because what we're doing in person, and what we're doing in person feels good. It's an experience. It's a win-win. And so I'm really standing for helping people to have more fulfillment. If you feel like the things that you're doing got you a level of success, but they're plateauing, it's because what got you there isn't going to get you to the future. And at the same time, the world has changed. Everything's back open. So like you said, how many of us did the DM copy and like paste script and it worked for a little bit, but it doesn't anymore because people are just inundated, like overwhelmed by it. Yeah. It's, you know, how many times are you going to go live and like you think your launches are going to get better and better and better, but it's the same audiences. How do you get new audiences without doing tons of ads? You just go in front of them. Like it's all organic. It's so much more filling, and it's literally like brings so much more purpose back into it. So no, I have not been affected negatively whatsoever about these hard times. I think that's just a label that we want to give ourselves to be an excuse. I'm not a victim and nobody else is. And if things don't work for you, just realize nothing outside of you is gonna be the source of your success. Stop.
Did you make those shifts?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Did you make those shifts when you saw the industry changing, or was that something that you were already embracing? And you mentioned last year, so that you had an event a year ago.
Yeah. So I had a big event, my first one, October of last year. And my first big speaking event was in September of last year. Okay. And then it was really cool because like literally my guest on my podcast this episode was from that speaking event. Like it's still happening. Like women that I met at the speaking event were at this event. Like it's awesome. Crazy how they're all connected. You know what's interesting? And I wonder, Christina, I'm sure you can speak to this too. And Tina, being in the online coaching industry, I think what happens is when you're really an expert at what you do, it's not necessarily that you are thinking and planning and strategizing. You truly are just being. And like people always are shocked when I said I never had a sales coach. Like no one's ever taught me how to sell. It's just who I am. It's who I be. Like when people ask me, how do you sell? I'm like, you just open your mouth. Like, what do you mean? Right? Like, I don't know. Like, and so when you can really simplify and put into steps the thing that comes so natural to you that people desire, there's your 7-figure coaching company. So for me, putting people together, that's just who I be. Like connecting people, it's not like, oh, I'm manipulatively connecting them so it comes back. Like, no, it's like it's universal law. It's just I was guided. It felt fun to do. I did it, and oh wow. There's more magazine articles. There's more PR. There's like my nonprofit being promoted and we're getting so many more donations. Oh, wow. Like there's, you know, more business. And it just all happened because I was inspired and I called to do it. But I've always been about people. Like that's what I said. My friends call me the queen of connections. I just brought that to the online space. And I think honestly, just because it's online business, it's still business. The core foundations are people and connections and serving others. So
that's it.
I didn't plan it. It just kind of like was inspired to download and I went and did it. And then of course it helped. And now I can help others because I've mastered it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant. And, you know, so often you think you have to be somebody to build a 7-figure business. You literally have to be yourself, right? If you love people, if you love helping people, if you do that at your most basic level, then everything else kind of falls into place. You're just being yourself. You're just helping when there's an opportunity to help. You're like, hey, I know somebody that can help you write a book. I know somebody that can help you open a brick and mortar store. I know somebody that you should be on their podcast. Like how many times have we done that? Be like, oh my gosh, you should be on their podcast. Like you got to connect with them. And that's the beauty of this referral business and creating connections is because the internet gave us this opportunity to be able to do that no matter where you are, no matter who you live, like, I love that you brought it to your space. I love that you brought it to your community and been one-on-one in front of people, because that's really truly where the magic happens, is when you're sitting down in front of somebody, right? You instantly have that trust between the two of you, and you start to get to know people. And then all of a sudden, like Tina said, people are being referred left, right, and center. And so if you just show up wholeheartedly thinking, I'm going to be here, I'm going to listen, right? Because sales is easy. If you listen, then you can provide a solution. Like, that's it. That's all this is, right? And if more people understood that, instead of just trying to push their sales all the time, like, I got to sell my product, I got to sell my service. No, you just need to listen. And then you talk and you have a conversation, and then it unravels, and you're like, well, what if you did this? What if you did that? Do you want help? Right. But it's pretty easy. Most people overcomplicate it, right?
Most people will tell you what they want. And so, like with what you said, I was actually on with one of my mentors. We did just our own little session just before coming on here. And we talked a lot about, fear. We talk about fear all the time, typically is what prevents most people from showing up. But showing up with courage, any type of courage, that's just the basic ingredient. Just show up, be present, and that's where the magic happens regardless, right?
I think what's really crazy is that, like, for some reason, I look at social media very different than other people. I look at it as being social, right? And not just being able to put things. And it's amazing. I have several consults that I'm going to hop onto shortly that I'm just thrilled that these are women, though, that have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. I don't even have 1,900 on Instagram. Like, I'd like more. That'd be great. But like, it's not necessary, because the people that are there, they're my people, right?
Yeah, and why have 10,000 people that are just regular people instead of having 1,800 that are your target audience?
You know what's funny? I brought this up. Both of you ladies, Tina and Christina, know my friend Marina Simone, who came. Marina used to be a client of mine, and I remember when she was a client, it was the very first time that she had 1 million views on one of her TikToks or Reels, right? And now she's had like how many of them? But I remember what it was, and I use this as an example all the time. In her TikTok, it was hilarious. It was her just kind of like getting up, pretending no one was looking at her. She put on her purse and she was checking to make sure she had her keys. And then she looks at the camera and says, hey, the 12 followers that I have out there, I'm going to the gas station. Do you need anything? Right? And that's what it said. And her copy said, if you can't take care of the 12 people following you now, what makes you think that you are deserving of having more? And I always say, God won't give you what you can't handle, right? And it's like, if you're not engaging and respecting and building the relationships with the people who are already in front of you, why are you constantly chasing more? That's the illusion. Like, real people are in front of you.
100%. 100%, Cynthia. I actually just taught people how to create a viral video that is on track to actually what you want people to do. And I had 1 million+ views this week. And somebody commented, wow, you've actually commented back to almost everybody. You've actually responded. And no, I don't use AI to do that. I actually am connecting with people and using thought-provoking conversations and like, hey, I got you, or hey, if you want to connect with me, or just like you sent me that private voice message. And by the way, Cynthia sent me a 3-minute voice message. So she handpicked the women she wanted at her event, right? And hey, Christina, not hey, babe. Right? That she could just forward all of the messages out. Right? She like actually catered those messages, and that meant something to me. I was like, dude, I would be at that event if I wasn't pregnant. Like 100% I would be there because of that connection. And I trust her. I trust her not only for the results that she's created, not only for herself, but for clients. And also, here's the other thing. If I went to Cynthia today and I was like, hey, dude, I'm having a really hard time with this piece of my business. What do you think? She would give me advice. She wouldn't be like, hey, you should join my program, right? Like and although we would love to work together and do that, right? But she would have an honest conversation with me and be like, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Right?
Recommend somebody I know.
We serve at a higher level because we don't care, because we're like, we just want the better good for everyone out there. And if it vibes with you and you want to work with us, you want the accountability, you want us to help you overcome challenges, great. But if we can be here for you for a minute, people don't forget that, right? They don't forget.
And that is so true, Christina, too, because her and I got on the phone a couple of couple of weeks ago and did the same thing. And, and we were like going back and forth going, oh, I know her. Oh, I know her too. Oh, I know her too. They're like, oh my gosh. But the fact that you can respond to over 1 million viewed TikTok and people
thousands of comments.
And people still are going, oh my God, you responded to me.
It's sad. It really is like, so
yeah.
When I meet podcast guests that I just like vibe with, I'm like, oh my God, I want to know this woman. It's so funny. I'm a soccer mom. I love my soccer moms here, right? But when I go and I'm like, so what are you guys doing today? They're like, oh, I'm going to bake some cookies. I'm going to, do my nails and sit by the pool. I'm like, I have 6 like podcast interviews today. I have to go record like my new program. I have to like fly and pack because I'm going to next weekend. Like, I'm like, what? So when you meet people online that get it and are doing this,
you want to have a play date?
It's completely different. And, I just know when I meet podcast guests, like, it's interesting. I'll be like, hey, do you want to like meet up? Let's go somewhere. Let's have a weekend together. They're always like,
what?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
are you sure? Like they're looking at me like #person of the internet. Are you sure? Like I'm a real person and you have something to like that I love and I want to spend time with you. And like, and I go, and that's how I build a lot of my relationships is like going to Hawaii for weekends and having a great time. And, but like people are shocked that I would invite
they're shocked
when I actually comment on their stuff.
When I went to the Faith Over Fear event, I had several people after, because I was like working the swag song with Tyla.
And did my swag at my event.
Right? And she did her swag. And so Tyla and I were in there and we're, talking to all the big wigs that would come in on the break or during the show and stuff like that. And they're like, oh my God, you were like so cool. You were like so awesome. You're like exactly how you are online, you are in person. I'm like,
that's kind of how it should be, right? That you should be. As I always say, you are the brand. Yeah, exactly. You are your brand.
Yeah, your brand is a promise experience, right? You have to be the same. I'm the same with my kids as I am with y'all. It's funny. My little boys actually came to this last event and they watched mommy for a little bit. And, I just was myself and I have a potty mouth and I hope some of the moms were like, oh my gosh, she said that for her kids. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I just am who I am. Like whether I'm with them, they know better, but like in front of them as I am my husband, as my, as everybody here, you have to be. It's a promise experience. Like that's what the brand is. It's truly the essence of your soul. And you are not just, a cute pink logo. It's really like, what do you stand for? Yeah. What do you have to say about it? Most importantly, what are you doing about it? Right. Yeah, and I think by going first and putting people together all the time, it's an example of how we're doing this. And Tina, you going in person, like that was, people are like, I can't believe it. No, it's real. That's how people get to experience and tap in and calibrate with you. It's beautiful. I really love it.
I love that realness too, like and we raise our kids, do what I say, not what I do. I'm not going to say that because that's like the old age, phrase that everyone says.
But
like,
Izzy, come back here, Izzy. Let's ask Izzy.
Right? But like she knows, right? So like I swear all the time. I try not to when I'm on here, but I swear all the time. And she knows that's an adult word. Like you can use that word when you're 18 plus. That's totally fine, right? You can also start dating.
Share with her the story of when you told Izzy you were having a baby.
Oh my gosh.
Like so this is how much she watches her mom and dad.
Oh yeah.
So we didn't really tell people right away because we'd have a couple of miscarriages. I wanted to be really sure. I didn't want to have to go through and explain to people or anything. So we kept it kind of quiet. But we got to the point that I was like, okay, I feel confident. This is going to be good. We're going to make it. And so I said to Izzy, it's finally, it's time. We can tell people now. We can be on, we can talk about it. I said, why don't you go put your shirt on and we'll take a picture. It says, I'm going to be a big sister. And that's how we'll tell people, right? You can tell people. And so she's like, okay, Mom, but how are we going to make money? Like she wants to know how we're going to make money on the internet with a baby. Yes. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I was like, well, honey, first of all, then we had the relationship talk, right? Like not everything is about money. It's about connecting with people. It's about building relationships. It's about showing people that they're just like you and like me. And when we make friends this way. And so we're not going to use the baby to make money. We're going to just
why?
And like allow people to be happy for us when they know our story, right? It was so funny, but they watch everything that you do. And so how can we show up? And I think you bringing your kids to your event, right? The first event that Izzy came to, we flew to Dubai and we brought her with us and she was supposed to have a nanny. It didn't work out. So we go to this event and she's blown away by the keynote speaker. She's like, there's like silk acrobatics going on. She's like, this is what you do for work?
Yeah.
Like, this
That's
is
so funny.
the events that you're going to, and they're like magical, you know?
You
And
say
she's
you're
like,
working,
"This is
mommy? This isn't working.
but like that's such a positive thing for your kids to see you up there on
It
stage. Look
is.
at my powerful mom.
Yeah.
Look at what she brought together,
Mm.
right? And guess what? When they get older, who are they going to look for in their life?
Yeah.
They're going to look for
Absolutely.
a powerful woman that is totally independent, that is out there doing her thing. They're going to honor that she's independent. They're going to and they're going to be independent themselves. So I think that is absolutely brilliant, exposing them to that.
It was cool to ask them, like, what does mommy do? And they're like, teach women to be successful, like help them to be their IFB, like teach them sales. Like, it was really cute. My son, my older one, we were out to dinner one night and we were seeing what their extracurricular activities he liked to get into. So he was playing piano. He was really kind of dabbling with soccer, and we wanted to get him into like serious soccer. So before we committed to that, we really had a conversation, like, if we're going to do travel, like, are you going to be for real? Are you going to be serious? And that's what he chose. But at the time we were like, well, let's talk about other things. So he plays piano, and my husband said, well, maybe you could be an actor. Like, we can put you in acting because you love Hamilton. That's music and acting. And he was like, Dad, no way. And I was like, why not? My son is like a little rebel, but in the best way. He wears like mismatched, really high socks all the time. He purposely wears his shirt backwards. And if you don't catch him on the way out, he will wear it like that all day. Right. So I laughed and I said, there's no way that Derek could be an actor because he would have to take directions from the director, like someone else. And he joked around. He's like, oh my gosh, you're right, mommy. I could not do that. I'd be fired. And my husband took a little dig at me because I was fired from my corporate position. And that's how I got started as an entrepreneur. So he said, oh, you'd be fired, huh? Well, then maybe you should be just like your mom and become an entrepreneur. And my son said to me, I'm confused though. And we're like, what? He goes, I thought entrepreneurs were successful women. And I started laughing because my husband owns 2 very successful companies, right?
Yeah.
But like, because he's listening.
He's like,
It's what he hears. It's what he sees and experiences.
He's constantly talking about buying assets, and he's talking about, mommy, I want to go sell today. And, mommy, why is nobody at school teaching me about consciousness? I don't understand. And like,
So
mommy,
true.
like, like it's,
Correct.
but they're
Absolutely.
listening all the time. Derek the parrot, that's what I call him. So but yeah, they're listening. And that's a big part of what we're doing too. Like, I think it's so much better. Like, if you drive in the morning past a school bus stop of middle schoolers, they're literally next to each other. They're not connecting. They're next to me like this.
That's right. Hoodie pulled over, right?
Yeah.
It's like texting each other.
I'm leading my example. Like, no, honey, it's about people. It's about connection. Like, and I think that's important because they are watching. They really are.
Yeah.
So
I think, this whole consciousness movement too, right? Like the fact that you're talking to them about that. And it's something that I talk to Izzy about all the time. We were talked about it this morning when I met my friends at the beach, right? It's that like all of these crazy things are going on in the world. And if people were just conscious and awake and realize we get a very short amount of time on this planet, why are we going to bother fighting with each other? Let people live their lives, do their own thing, have fun, be loving and compassionate towards everybody, and then just live the life that you want to live. If we raised our children that way, as opposed to the way they're being raised in the education system, if we had bigger conversations with them, none of this crap would be going on. None of it. Absolutely. So I really appreciate you bringing that piece, because I know that, yes, you make sales sexy, but you've also brought this spiritual aspect into what you do.
Yeah.
You mentioned right before we went live that, like sexy sales, spiritual. Tell us how that blends together, because I loved the way you were putting that together.
So this is actually what's funny. I've always been in sales since I was 22. That was my first big girl job. I had 13 interviews and I became the youngest woman in the world, one of 4 women in the world that had the position to be a regional manager for Jim Beam brands. And so I was in the bourbon world, very masculine. I still would always wear my cheetah to the boardrooms, right? But I've always been into sales. And then when I decided to go online, as I said, I was in sales for an online business consultant. When I got fired, I had a non-compete. So I couldn't even teach business or sales. And there was no way I was going to go work for somebody else. I was actually offered $100,000 a month salary to be the vice president of sales for a very successful other business consultant. And I was like, I promise God, right there in that moment, I was like, do you see me saying no? Do you see me saying no? I was like, I'm not taking that.
No, I'm saying no.
Like, I'm going first. I'm going to make this into something. I know I'm not, like doing that every month, but I'm doing it my way. Right. And What happened though was I have a really big background in metaphysics. So I actually went to the College of Metaphysical Studies. Yes, I have a degree in marketing, minor in advertising, but I also went there. And honestly, that's where my sales game really took off when I started meditating every day. And I realized like I would be sitting there and just becoming so comfortable with my own energy and like my own, just everything in my bubble, that when I could sit, I'd all of a sudden be like, Christina, what are you doing over here? Like, Tina, like you're kind of like sitting on my shoulder. Like I could start picking up on what other people were feeling and doing. And so that's what sales is. It's an emotional connection. It's like hearing what they're not saying. And it's me being very intuitive. I can see their future that they can't yet see for themselves. And I can see the path on how to get them there.
Yeah.
So I can like support them in that because they know where they're at. They know where they want to be, but I can see the steps on how to get there. And when they trust me to do that, we do it together. And that's how they get results. But because I became really intuitive, like my sales game just like went like crazy because, you know, I just really was connecting to people, not just their physical body, but their energetic body and who they are as a person, as a soul. And so I started my first company was all about spirituality. It was called Spiritual Success. And I always make fun of myself because I'm Cynthia Stant. I had a Spiritual Success sorority. I would like stutter all the time, but that's live video for you. And people actually appreciated it. But it was really just helping women to understand they're not just CEOs of their businesses, they're CEOs of their life. And it was about mastering mindset, meditation, metaphysics, and manifestation. And so it was cool because I got to show people. People are always like, oh, but you sell money. Like that's so easy and tangible. No, I created a multiple six-figure company in less than 6 months by myself. Selling spirituality. And it wasn't selling, it's supporting and serving women.
Providing and serving.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, sales aren't the S words that everybody says that break my heart. It's not spammy. It's not scammy. It's not sleazy. It is spiritual. It is sexy. And it is being of service, a solution. And if you really want, I always take it, you're really the start of your client's success. There's more S words, right? Like that's what it really is. Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
I do too. I'm taking some mental notes here on some things. Cynthia, you have an event. Speaking of, you know, your past event, you have an event coming up as well, right? And you've got a new Facebook group that you're putting together.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was so touched and honored by the conversation that happened in that room. So when I have an event, I don't ever have a stage because like, I'm not here to stand on a platform and be like, look at me, look at me. I'm there walking around the room. So it's not a presentation, it's a conversation. And we had, again, like 8-figure women coming from Germany to be in this room who have something to say and to contribute. That conversation, I felt like it was like one of those like world leader conventions where we get together and we literally talk about the changes we're going to make and implement in this like world for better good, like, and the industry that we are dedicated to. And so I'm just so moved by the conversation we had that there's a lot of women who can't make it. So I wanted to open up a new room where people could come in and really hear in detail what we discussed, what is working, what's not working, what we want to do differently, what was the past, what's happening now, but most importantly, not what we need to or should, but what we really want to do differently. And I can tell you right now, it's bringing the human back into the online space. It's really bringing connection to be the forefront and making it about our people. And so different ways of doing that, whether it's podcast strategy, whether it's about learning how to do the meetups and the events, whether it's about learning how to sell and speak from stage. It's all about knowing connections. Like just from this event within 24 hours, like this is not my intention, but this is the power of it. Within 24 hours, I was invited to 3 speaking events. One of them, I'm going to Orlando this weekend with Heidi Rain. Thank you, Heidi. Going to Shamina's event in Chicago in 2 weeks to witness her and be in that amazing room. And then I have a really big one coming up that I'm honored Marina invited me to, which I'll share more about soon. But this is to be on stage in front of like 1,000+ people with like people who have Instagram followers over 750,000, like 1,900, y'all. That did not happen from me going and making a post. It happened from being the person that created the
That's
Yeah.
So like, it's just, but yeah, so we're going to have a special masterclass, the evolution of online sales, bringing the human back into the online industry. And this can be hosted in a special Facebook group. Thank you, Tina, for putting that. You can see it here. The evolution of sales is that Facebook group. So come join me. I'll be accepting all the members next week, but go get in line, get set up for that. And it's going to be a really open, raw conversation like today. So I'm excited for that. Thank you for that opportunity to
that is awesome because I couldn't make your event. And so it's good to know that you brought that onto that online space. So I would.
I was like, we have more people to tell us to, so let's go do it. It's not like let's plan this out. It's like, okay, I feel led to do this. It needs to be done.
Cynthia, is that group just for women? or how are you building it? And it's okay if it is.
Sorry, Robert. You're out, Robert.
I know.
Sorry, Rob.
I will say this. As a businesswoman, when I first started my business, I was like, why would I write off 50% of the population?
This is your target. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah.
I think what it is that in order to really learn and to feel like comfortable to speak, we need to be vulnerable. And sometimes when there is a mixture, and it's not just we're against men or anything, but sometimes people of the internet, again, it's not like I chose who was in that room. I trusted everybody in that room. There was a level of protection in that physical room. The internet, you got to be careful with who's there and what's that. And I just choose in a happy relationship, like to be like safe and to have my people feel protected. I'm the leader and I protect the container. And so that's one of the ways that I do that. So people can feel vulnerable and to feel protected and to feel safe to say what they need to say, And so it's not like I definitely don't hate, I don't discriminate, but I choose to serve women. Yeah.
And I knew that wasn't the case. I wanted to make sure that the audience knew as they were kind of chiming back into that, whether that group was open to everyone or not. And by the way, I have an amazing wife. I have an amazing older daughter that I'm sure would have a lot of value from your group.
He's like, by the way, I am married.
Robert, you can come. I trust you. You can come.
Robert will be the only guy in there.
We'll talk about that.
All the time.
Kelly Wall.
We'll talk about that later.
He's a very strong man to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. The group will be called 10,000 Strong Women and this guy.
And Robert.
So, that's right. All right. No, and I appreciate that. By the way, I mean, I think everything that you're saying, it just falls so much in line, which is, again, why we're all sitting at this certain vibration together, that it falls in line with everything that we've all been talking about. We have our own little masterminds. We have a big one that we're planning for next year as well that you'll be invited to. But it's just, when I think about this topic in itself, my newest book that comes out, I'm going to do a book plug, Christina, but my newest book that comes out, probably February, March of next year, but it's called 7-Figure Relationships. And it has nothing to do with money, right? It has to do with this paradigm shift of all of the things that, building relationships over all these years, what they've led me to. And so I love what you're doing. And as you stated earlier, and you stated it perfectly, the fact that if you just focus on like your purpose, your mission, your passion, the community that you want to serve, boy, I mean, the sales just come, right? And even if you have the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs, the whole point is you have the mindset and the heart set that's perfectly in alignment with accepting that, just knowing that, 2 months ago, it was my record month in sales and it's not where I want to be today. But I know if I continue to serve in a bigger way, maybe I have to pivot a little bit here and there, but if I continue to do it, right, it'll come back.
Yeah.
But
it's that gratitude. Right? Like, I'm in the middle of doing the 30 Days of Gratitude Challenge. I do it every November. We've had over 15,000 people join, and every November for 30 days, you do an act of gratitude on social media to let people know how you care about them and what you do. And hey, Christina, thank you for the referral, and you're amazing. And whatever it is, you need to build those relationships, and you need to have that gratitude in there.
So true.
It's having a long-term vision for your business, right? It's not like, hey, I'm doing this to make money this year, or I'm doing this to make money right now. It's that I'm going to create something that will last a lifetime, a legacy that I'm willing to work towards, and I'm willing to build skills, and I'm willing to build relationships and honor people in that process. And it doesn't happen overnight. We're in this world of instant gratification that people want it right here, right now. Yes. And, they watch people rise and they're like, wow, where did they come from? Well, they've been doing this for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. They've been meeting people. They've been going to events. They've been adding value to people's lives and being good humans for that amount of time. And you're right. If they don't behave that way and they act differently behind closed doors, their business doesn't last, right? And so you have to understand that it's like committing to a long-term vision of who you are. Like Cynthia, you are, you have sales in your blood. I was born with sales in my blood. I was selling things when I was a little kid, right? Making things and selling things to my neighbors. I was doing everything that I could to be of service to people around me and bring people together. And I'm always connecting people. It doesn't matter, like I think that they're going to be better off talking to Robert or to Starr or to Tina or to you. I'm going to say, hey, you need to meet this person. I need to introduce you to this person. Just like when we met, somebody's like, you need to meet Cynthia, right? And I was like, yeah, I do need to meet Cynthia. We need to be friends. Like, absolutely. And I think really what it comes down to is this abundance mindset and longevity. It comes down to there is more than enough to go around. And so if you just show up with who you are and you continue to serve and serve and serve, I had a consultation call a couple of days ago and just had a brainstorming session with this gentleman in his mid 50s. It was so funny.
You were 7.
Thanks,
you were
Mom.
selling things.
Since I was 7. And I had this conversation, and at the end of the conversation, he's like, wow, that's such a great idea. This is, and he's like, what do I owe you? And I said, nothing. We just had a conversation. If you build out this business, you want help marketing it, you want to help building a brand, then come back. He's like, no, I want my kids to meet you. Like, I want their entrepreneurs. I want them to be in front of you. I want them to have, okay. I'm like, I'll book a call with them. Like, let's have a conversation. Right. And so when you show up like that in the world where your energy is up here, what do? You attract other people that are like that. And you have this world full of people that are giving and giving and giving instead of taking and taking and taking, which is really what's happened in the last few years, is that people just want to take out of desperation. Yeah. But if you don't live in that plane, you live up here and you're like, give, the world opens up for you. Like, give your best stuff, have these incredible conversations, and people will come to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Starr, as always, I love the glowing face, the smile that you bring. I know you've been sitting there very patient. I know, just kind of something that you've been thinking about. I mean, how do you think some of these things apply in your world, right? Because obviously brick and mortar that turned to a major outlet of online sales, a group of over 100,000 people. How do you think relationships in themselves, or the way this paradigm shift, how does that, apply to your business?
I was so excited about Cynthia's conversation because I feel like it took me back to the basics and back to my roots. So I was one of those who came into the online space and kind of had instant success, and you're just like, whoa, what is this? And so when you see that shift happening, it's like, oh, what do you do now? But I actually come from, my background is in entrepreneurship, brick and mortar, e-commerce, that sort of thing. And I had a lot of success that way. And I look back at what I did, and it was like, I actually did have the connections. I would go to hair salons and meet with hairstylists, offer them, some special packaging or things that they can get like wholesale pricing with. I would do events. I would go to, okay, if my audience is Black African-American women who wear weaves, I'm going to go to these huge, massive reggae festivals or hire someone to like network and pass out flyers. And so that I did a lot of that in-person work. And I was like, you know what? She's really onto something here, because that's exactly what I did.
Exactly.
So I love it.
I think though, what happened is, and I think it's kind of hurt some of the mindsets of the women who did take off, and they think that this overnight success is the norm, right? And that like they built these multiple 7-figure companies, but now they're like plateauing because it's not working, and or they're just really hard on themselves. Like a lot of women I feel like are having conversations of quitting, and I'm like, no, you just need to understand, like, this is how business works. It goes up, it goes down. You have to understand the industry is evolving. The psychology of our buyers is evolving. We need to evolve with that. And so you're going to have to make changes in your business. And if you're going to make changes, I don't necessarily recommend the new guru or the new launch strategy or the new like platform. Right. It's bringing it back to the core foundation. It's the people. Like that's what I would recommend. But yeah, I've seen a lot of women that were in that room that were like, that's my exact story. I became really big, really fast. And now I'm not lit up by what I'm doing because I'm literally just on my phone all the time. Like I do want to be with the people. And like I said, there is something that, I don't know. I mean, I don't think people are talking about it because maybe it sounds like ego driven, but I think it's important. I like being seen. I like being heard. I like, getting the high fives and the hugs, and people who are writing the podcast reviews, like sharing with their voice, what you're doing to them. It has inspired me. And I think, that's that it girl factor, that when you work your ass off like this, you're worthy of receiving that attention. And I think you don't get that any other way. So yeah, but yeah, like you said, and just to wrap up my part here, as our children are listening about consciousness, like everybody in this, like, what do we call this room right now? The behind in the stream
in this community. There you go.
Yeah, you are conscious. You are really evolved, because being an entrepreneur, to get to this level, you have to be. It is not rainbows and butterflies and Prince Charmings whatsoever. It does go down. It does go up. You have days when you're like, you want to just sit in fetal position and be like, what the fuck? Why am I putting myself out there like this? Right?
Totally.
But I just feel like if you're in this, you understand your purpose and you understand the number one profit producing activity. This is the other thing that we're really strong about in that room is getting our clients that results. Like that is why I have a business. That is my purpose on this planet is to serve my people. And everyone's constantly thinking about lead generation. No, like 50% of my business is referrals because I have happy clients who get results. Like that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And and I'm bringing that back though. I just think it's important. It's not new. That's the funniest part. But so many it's to see people be like, wow.
Yeah.
It's foundational business practice is what it is. But because of what social media did, it created this like false sense of security, this false sense of fame for so many people. And then they're like, wait a second, I have all these views, or I sold all this stuff really quickly through COVID where everyone was captive to their screen. And now it's not working that way. I have to be of value and of service to people. And I've got to learn how to run a legit business. I've got to learn how to, put the back end in place and be able to receive people.
And that's what I'm doing here. It's not just
give me. Yeah.
Not just doing it. Now I have all the checklists for you. Now I have all the SOPs in place.
It.
Now I have
That's right.
budgeting tools and forecasting. Like I'm going to show you how to do it and walk you through it. Like that's how that works, right? You go first, you learn it, you master it, then you teach it. And so I'm really excited for a lot of women to be waking up to this concept and be open to doing it differently. Are you willing to see it differently? That's how you're going to grow and pivot.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure. Like I said, and we definitely need to talk more because I love what you're doing. It was an opportunity for me to hear more, right? Directly from you.
I love that.
Definitely.
Let's connect. Let's do it. Let's have a connection call.
I know. I have my own community that
she does talk to men, Robert.
What's that?
She does talk to men.
I have some amazing men on my show.
She just doesn't let them into her community.
Private coaching for things.
Yeah. So again, whether you were watching live today or you're watching the replay later, definitely go back and watch the entire show. Cynthia dropped a lot of gold nuggets today. We've got our guest, Cynthia Stant. The best place they can reach you, correct, is Cynthia Stant. It's for those on the podcast, CYNTHIASTANT. So cynthiastant.com. They can find you there. And also on social media, specifically Facebook groups, you have /evolution of sales. That's the new group that you're putting together, correct?
Yeah, you can always, I'm on Facebook all the time. You can always DM me too. Let me know that you found me on the Uncensored Entrepreneur. I will actually be the person replying to you, and I'll probably send a voice message.
Not a bot? You're not a bot? Okay.
Yeah, no. And then also too, I'm very proud of my podcast on iTunes, which is going to be Inner Feminine Beast podcast, all things sales with Cynthia Stant. So Inner Feminine Beast is where you'll find me.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's so good seeing you again and meeting you as well. I'd love to connect with you, Starr and Robert, sometime too. But this has been a lot of fun. I love what you guys are doing, and I just appreciate all of you for being uncensored and really putting the right conversations out to the world. So thank you for this opportunity. It means a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Everyone have a nice day. Thank you.
Bye, guys.